Hello, everyone. Welcome to Touchdown on True Sports, brought to you by Pickups, your everything on demand delivery app. My name is Chantel Alicia, and I'm going to be your host for today's show. Joining me today are my analysts, Nolan Kangas, Luca Moya, and Steven Clennon. Today, we're going to be discussing everything that went down in week 4 and what's to come in week 5. So I'm sure you guys would all agree with me. We had some very interesting matchups in week 4. So let's get started with the big W's. I'll go first. So my big W pick for week 4 was the Saints. So as I mentioned to you guys, this was a really important game for me to watch because I was going to determine where I was going to continue to place the Saints in my top 5 going forward. Now, the start of this game, it was super rocky. They practically threw away the first quarter, but then they ended up really having an amazing comeback. They've just got some really, really good talent on this team. I mean, Alvin Kamara, he played a really, really good game. They've got Tre'Quan Latavius Murray. And this is why, in my opinion, they're still going to be in the running. I just don't see Drew Brees going out yet. He's still got a lot of fight in him, and he's just not going to go down without a fight. So I'm going to give player of the game to him, and really a big high five to Sean Payton from bringing his team to a near loss to, score over Detroit that I think ended up in 35-29. So congrats to them for that big win. So Nolan, who's your big W for week 4?
Well, I just wanted to go back to, the Saints. I think that this sort of tells a little bit of how much this team needs Michael Thomas, too. Their offense struggles a little bit. They get down 14-0 to the Lions. We know the Lions have blown a few losses here and there with Matt Patricia, but still, without Michael Thomas and you guys rock and roll and get that offense moving, I wonder, like you were mentioning, Chantel, this team does have so much talent. When Thomas comes back, I think we're going to see that high-powered offense that we're usually used to seeing in New Orleans. But I'll talk about a team that has a high-powered offense, but their defense absolutely sucks. But that's why my winner is going to be Dak Prescott. And usually I'm a little bit hard on Dak Prescott, but guys, he's going to get absolutely paid when the season comes to end. 3 straight games of 450 yards. He looks phenomenal out there. There's a few mistakes here and there, but still, it's not like he's throwing a ton of passes and completing, his passes at a really bad rate. Still over 64% in these last 4 games. But it's just showing you should have paid this guy first and maybe worked on all the other pieces if you're Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, if you're Dak Prescott, you're talking to your agent saying, I'm going to get a boatload of money wherever I go. If I have some talented receivers and a decent offensive line, I can, produce with any football team there is. And he's proving that this year. If this Cowboys team is 3-1, he's right there in the MVP race. Since they're 1-3, yeah, no dice.
All right, awesome. So,
sorry, yeah, Chantal.
Go ahead, Luca.
Yeah, for me, Dak is kind of like I'm a bit iffy on him, right? Like, are all of his yards when the teteam's out of it completely by 25
garbage
plus,
time,
right? Yeah, it's kind of like garbage time. I know fantasy owners are probably loving it because he ends up with the game with 500 yards or something like that. But yeah, there's no doubt Dak's an above average quarterback in this league. I don't know if I'm ready to put him in an elite level yet, but for sure, I think he's shown some promise this year. My winner, sticking with the Cowboys theme, Jason Garrett. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Because it's not his fault, baby. It is not his fault. And I will be the first one to come on here. I was so hard on Jason Garrett because, I thought Dallas, they just needed a head coach, a new change, and they would be the team everybody thought they would be. No, they're the exact same team. Go down by 25-plus points in every single game and try to come back in the fourth quarter and then absolutely blow it at the end of the game. You just can't win games like that. It wasn't his fault. He's probably there you know what? Hey, I can't coach this team. This team is just uncoachable. I don't like Mike McCarthy as a head coach. I said that when they hired him. I thought they should have got someone a little bit better considering the team that they have. But as of right now, we got to go with what we know. And what we know is the last 2 coaches that the Cowboys have had, they are absolutely brutal. So they got to do something. I don't know if it's just the roster, if they got to change the quarterback. I don't know. Something is wrong with this team. And right now, you cannot blame the coaches for that.
No, you're not. You're speaking truth when you talk about they're talking about coaches. if we're gonna talk about coaches, you might as well go right into my winner of the week. My winner of the week is the Houston Texans. I know these guys are 0-4. They got beat by Minnesota. Congratulations, Nolan. That's a big win there. But you know what? It's such a good feeling when you can wake up on a Monday morning and you hear someone like Bill O'Brien just got fired. No longer the head coach, no longer the GM. Your worries are gone out the door, out the window. Throw him away. Get him out of there. He's been there for 6 years. I think they've gone to the playoffs 4 of those 6 years. Only 2 playoff wins. He wasn't doing much in the first place, and he messed up the salary. He messed up the player personnel on the team. Everything's messed up in that whole team, and Bill O'Brien's the main reason. So the Houston Texans, you guys getting rid of him, shipping him out of there, it's nothing but green pastures ahead for you guys. It's clear now. A new vision can take place and something else can happen. I don't know who's going to be the head coach there. I don't know who the GM is going to be there. But I can tell you this. The GM is going to have a couple problems without having those first 2-round draft picks next season. But it's going to be okay. You're going to manage it, do what you got to do. But now Romeo Crennel, the former Patriots coach, assistant coach, can step in and come in as an interim head coach for a bit and see how they do. But listen to me, Houston Texans, you guys are whispers at the end of this, man. You guys can go 0-16. It's okay. Bill O'Brien's gone. Bill O'Brien's gone, man. He's gone. Be happy. This is a joyous occasion, everybody. Joyous.
All right.
I think the only thing that would make you happier is if Adam Gase got fired tomorrow.
And
then
pull the
we'd be
trigger
having
right
a
now.
field-
Do it
we'd be
right
having a
now.
field day.
I'll have an all-out celebration. COVID, I'll make sure everything's okay. Not too many people. I'll have a huge celebration if Adam Gase gets fired tomorrow as well, too. My God, I'd be so happy.
That would definitely be big news. Well, guys, this is just going to move us right into our discussion about the big L's of week 4. Because to be honest, there were a handful of teams that should have won, but didn't. And there's 4 teams that I'm going to list off right now that are all 0-4. Atlanta Falcons, the Jets, the Giants, and as Steven just mentioned, the Houston Texans. Now, they made a big, huge change by firing Bill O'Brien. And honestly, the other 3 teams, they need to follow suit. They need to follow suit if they plan on offering any competition for the remainder of the season and for the future success of the NFL, in my opinion. So I'm just going to let you guys take it from here.
Yeah, I think with that, if we can stay on that for a second, is Adam Gase for sure, get rid of him. Dan Quinn for sure, get rid of him. Joe Judge is the only question mark. I wasn't sold on the hiring of Joe Judge, but was surrounded his whole entire coaching career with Nick Saban, who we know is a brilliant mind, and Bill Belichick. The only thing is, you're a special teams coach, and I don't know if that comes over to a really young team. I just don't. It's tough to see now when your best player, Saquon Barkley, is out for the season. The defense is already, really, really terrible. DeAndre Baker, who was a first-round pick for them, I believe 2 years ago, he's off the team after his arrest charges. It's just a struggle, all over there. But, Chantel, like you mentioned, O'Brien out, perfect. Gase is, regardless, if Gase isn't fired by the end of this year, I will be absolutely shocked. I don't know.
Let's go coach the Jets. Let's go coach them at this point.
But I wanted to go to a team that has a head coach, and a lot of people really liked him. And I think maybe 1 or 2 of us picked him to be coach of the year. I don't think he's doing a great job at all, and that's Cliff Kingsbury. This Cardinals offense is disgustingly bad at the moment. When you have a player like Kyler Murray, who has a terrific arm, a phenomenal arm, I don't know how tall he is, 5'7", 5'8", 5'9". He is a cannon. And you have DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, who's an absolute burner. But I actually tweeted out, if you want to check out, shout out to my Twitter, Nolan Ryan Kingus. Kyler Murray, we know his arm. His intended air yards per attempt. So when he's attempting to make a pass, 7.6 yards. That's 18th in the NFL for, someone who's got a terrific arm. His completed air yards. So per completion, his passes go less than 5 yards. That's 30th in the NFL. When you have a burner like Isabella and Hopkins, who could basically snag any football thrown in his area, why are you doing these bubble screens and quick slants? To me, it just doesn't make sense. And we saw that against the Carolina Panthers, who, okay, maybe surprising some people. I placed some money on the Cardinals to beat the Panthers. Chantel, I'm pretty sure you probably guessed your Cardinals were going to beat the Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
You have Kyler Murray throwing 35 times for less than 200 yards. It's just really bizarre the way this offense is going right now. And that's what everyone was excited about was, okay, now he's got his number 1 receiver. Let it fly. and we're not seeing that. And now they're 2-2 after a loss to the Lions and a loss to the Panthers. Not good in Arizona.
And it's weird because they started 2-0, right? And, people were probably thinking, man, great up-and-coming young team. Hopkins, Murray, where's Kenyon Drake been? I was so high on him coming into the season. They don't use him as much.
Nope.
Get the play
Not at
action
all.
involved. Get the play action involved. Do something. You got to shake up this offense a little bit. You got playmakers all over that team. So you got to utilize them the best way you can. And I agree with you, Nolan. I think Arizona, they've completely gone from fringe playoff team to a team that's just a disappointment right now. Sorry, Chantel, but it doesn't look good for the Cardinals.
I hear you. I had a lot of daggers going through my heart watching that game on Sunday. So
It's a tough division. It's a really tough division over there in the West, man.
Probably
It's
the best in the NFL right now if you think about it with all 4 teams. But I'm gonna go to my loser now, guys. This has never happened on the show, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna repeat Jason Garrett. He is a loser as well. The Giants offense, 3 touchdowns this whole season, and 2 of them came on week 1. So really, they haven't scored a touch. They've scored 1 touchdown in the last 3 games. You've got to be kidding me. You have Daniel Jones, who's supposed to be your franchise quarterback, and he can't lead the team down the field against the Rams. Thank God the Rams pulled that out because I would have been out of my survivor. But, man, they had chances and chances and chances to take control of that game, to win the game, not even to get the lead, to actually win the game. And they just couldn't get it done. Jason Garrett, I don't know if it's because, there's no Saquon Barkley, because the Giants are so far off from actually competing in this league. But you have got to be kidding me. 1 touchdown in the last 3 weeks? It's unbelievable. When you have a limited amount of options on your offense, why isn't every ball going to either Darius Slayton or maybe Golden Tate in the slot? Do something. Get your playmakers involved because that's all you have. Evan Ingram even. Where has he been? He's not involved in the game plan at all, it seems like. So, Jason Garrett, you're looking good because you're not the reason that the Cowboys are bad, but you are probably a big reason why the Giants are still bad. So, for me, he's a winner and a big loser 4 weeks into this season. He's got to do something to get that offense going because, man, crazy as it might seem, the Giants are still in contention to win that division. So, if they can just get something going, they have a chance to do something. They play the Cowboys next week. I'm excited to see how the matchup plays out with Garrett and his former team. But I would think right now, Garrett, he's got to get that offense going, guys, because it's absolutely abysmal what's going on in New York right now.
a bad division, man. That NFC East is so terrible. I mean, the Eagles are winning it right now with one. They're 1-2-1. I'm surprised the Eagles even got that win.
I know. Oh my goodness, I can't believe
that division is horrible. So for my loser of the week, I know you guys looked at coaches, players, teams. I'm gonna look at the whole NFL this week and how they approached all the issues with the COVID games that came up. We had 2 games that came under fire: the Titans and the Steelers, and also the Patriots and the Chiefs. So the Titans and Steelers that one was canceled. The Chiefs game with the Patriots got moved to Monday. But my problem with it is how the NFL went about doing everything. It was kind of like they were unsure of how they were going to go about if the game was going to get canceled, if they were going to move the game to next week, if they had to change bye week. If you guys know COVID is a problem, it's an issue, a pandemic that's going around the world, don't you think you should have something in place, kind of like cemented to know, like, okay, if something happens this week, we're going to be able to do this, this, and that. If it happens this week, we're going to be able to do this, this, and that. Right now, if you look at the Titans and the Steelers, they've made changes for them to make sure that they can make everything work. I think they moved bye weeks for Baltimore. They're playing in the 7th week, and then Pittsburgh plays Baltimore the 8th. Baltimore's bye week switch. But what if more issues take place? Like, what if the Titans can't play this week against Buffalo? What happens with that? How are they going to make changes to face that? It's kind of like they didn't have protocol in place just in case that someone would catch the virus and teams would get infected and get affected at the same time. They haven't had someone put in place that's solid and made sure that everything was set in place, set in stone. It's going to be a rough ride. I'm interested to see how the NFL handles business going down the road and see if more teams and more cases of COVID start happening, how they're going to face this. But I think this week, rocky waters in the way they faced it. I wasn't really too happy. I'm glad that the game between the Patriots and the Chiefs got played, but I'm just not happy with the way the NFL went about their business. That's about it.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that. I mean, with the world being so unpredictable right now, you would think that they might have calendared like makeup game week for when these sort of issues arise, but it seems like they're just kind of going on the fly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll have to see, hopefully everybody can be COVID free, right?
And that's the thing. It's a lot of hoping that they're doing. Like they're hoping
Yeah.
that no one else is going to get sick. They're hoping that it's not going to be more than 18 staff and team members on a team that gets sick. Like this issue is it could hit a rocky road again. But we're gonna have to wait and see for sure. For sure.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. All right, so great discussion, guys, with wins and losses. So let's talk about our top 5 teams from week 4. So I'll be honest, I didn't do too much rearranging from last week. However, for me, number 5, I have Buffalo and New Orleans tied. I had to keep New Orleans in 5th because of their win. But I had to put Buffalo up there because they're just 4-0 and they are doing so well right now. I can't ignore that fact. So I've got them both in there tied at 5. I've got Green Bay still a strong 4, Baltimore a strong 3rd, the Seahawks a strong 2nd, and of course Kansas City number 1.
All right. I figured you were going to leave New Orleans in there somewhere after their win, but I wasn't sure where. But tied at 5, okay. For me, a little bit of changing up. I have a new number 5 team. Sorry, Luca. New England 2-2.
Hey, wait, Brian Hoyer's not the.
He's not the guy. And neither is
He's not who we thought he was.
Well, we knew, Stephen. Please, we knew. Okay.
100%.
5. I'm going to put your old boy. That's Tom Brady and the Bucks. They're there at 5. I just think 24 answered by the Chargers, and you scored 24 unanswered on your own there. Brady 5 touchdowns to pick 6. Still don't like seeing that, but the one thing that scares me of Tampa Bay is their secondary. It's not great. They have probably 1 or 2 of the best linebacking cores in football with Devin White and Levante David. They have a great, pass rush there in the middle as well. Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, and Mike Evans. Once Chris Godwin's back, they've got a great team. They do have a great team. There's still question marks to be answered there, but I have to put them at number 5. Because we didn't see Pittsburgh, and again, all their opponents are 0-9, and Tennessee, we still didn't get to see them play. 4, I moved Seattle down, and the reason for this is I thought he would have blown out Miami. That's not a good football team, and Miami made that a competitive game, whereas the other 3 teams I have above them, they just shining a little bit more than that Seattle defense, which still looks really, really bad. I know there was no Jamal Adams, but for me, Seattle's set at 4. 3, that's where Buffalo is going to be for now. Again, Josh Allen looks like a stud. The Raiders are a solid team. I think Buffalo's defense isn't as good as where they should be right now, and I think they're going to get there eventually. To Green Bay. I hate to say it. You guys know that, but Green Bay looks really good. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. That defense, Steven, you mentioned it earlier on. I was a little skeptical. They were coming and going yesterday. They were rocking, man. To an Atlanta offense, which is supposed to be fantastic. I get Julio only really played, only 1 half really. But still, Calvin Ridley, we talked about it before, Steven, 0 catches, right? And, that defense looks really good right now. Za'Darius Smith was a monster in that ball game. And number 1, come on, Kansas City. I know it was New England with no Cam Newton. The defense for New England is really, really strong, and Patrick Mahomes struggled in that first half. They turned it around eventually. Still, KC, the first team to start 4 straight seasons 4-0 in NFL history. Yeah, they're in my top spot.
Okay, well, I got to look at my notes here, see if you're looking at them, because I got Tampa Bay also at number 5. And for literally the reasons you pointed out, Steelers, they didn't play their 3-0 team. Titans, they didn't play their 3-0 team. New England gets bounced because they just, I'm not going to talk about it. So they get bounced. And then, you have all these teams that you could put in there, you can't put. But Tampa's been the best. Since week 1, really, they've played really good football. And the secondary's bad, but, man, that's safety. Whitfield Jr., he can play now. He's a really good player. They picked him up in this year's draft. So they have some young pieces. The secondary is obviously their weakest point on the team. O.J. Howard, he's out. So now Gronk, he's the number 1 tight end. Can he, regain his form? Him and Brady on the same team, obviously. That connection, I think it's going to be crucial, weeks down the line. So I got Tampa there. At number 4, I have Buffalo. It was between them and Seattle. Like Nolan said, it's just Buffalo for me right now. Fantastic team. I hate to say it because they're in New England's division. They're really good top to bottom. I like the coaching staff. Josh Allen, Steven, your boy, he's taking strides here, right? Him and Diggs, they look like they're going to be one of the more deadlier duos in the NFL for years to come if they stay together. But Seattle, for me, is still 3. And it's just because they did struggle, but they did win the game. And it's, it's how you overcome games like that. It's a team that shouldn't have been in the game from the start. We can all agree with that. But they got the job done. They didn't let them bite them in the butt, saying, oh, my goodness, we're actually in this game. Took it seriously in the fourth quarter. They got the job done. Miami could have actually stole one there. But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson and, Pete Carroll, the experience, they just were too much for the young Miami team. I'm torn here because I know I'm a Patriots fan, and I know that they lost. They did lose. But I really think New England could have won that game yesterday. They left a lot of points up on the board yesterday. That missed call on Mahomes, that was a big call there, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep the Chiefs there just because I have to, and I just feel like they still are the best team. I mean, Green Bay in there at number 2. I think Green Bay has overall been more impressive. I think this is 2 games now where Kansas City haven't been at their best. One against a division rival, the Chargers, and now against New England with literally the practice squad playing. And Julian Edelman, who's 34, can't catch a ball anymore. So for me, Kansas City still won. But if they have another game like this, guys, I'm going to have to consider moving them down because Green Bay, every time they play, they blow out teams. They just dominate from start to finish. So that's my top 5. I hate to say it, but Patrick Mahomes, in the fourth quarter, he's just,
Don't be so upset, man. Hey, man, every team got to lose, man. Every team's got to lose.
It's the way they lost. It's the way
maybe not Kansas City this season. They might not lose at all, but hey, man, every team got to lose, especially in even the Patriots. So when it comes down to it, right, man, it's okay though. It's okay though. We got a long season ahead of us. So look at my top 5. My number 5 is gonna shock everybody because if we go back a couple episodes, I know I was putting heat on this man's name and saying I can't rock with him anymore. But you know what? He showed up. He's showing up 3 weeks in a row.
Oh, you're not going to do it, Steven.
Cleveland Browns at number 5.
My goodness.
I see Odell. Odell looked like a weapon out there. I haven't seen Odell play like this since the catch that he made when he was on the Giants against the Eagles, I believe it was, when he had the touchdown. And that was the catch. I haven't seen Odell play like this in a long time. And I think that defense for Cleveland, Myles Garrett off the line, dangerous. So dangerous. Denzel Ward, he's playing great in his position at corner. I love what they're doing there. The linebackers need a bit of work, but hey, man, they're young and they're growing. But look at the Cleveland Browns. I'm so surprised these guys have reeled off 3 wins in a row, and no one's really talking about it except for me. I'm talking about it right now. That's number 5. At number 4, you got my boy Jaheim Allen and the Buffalo Bills doing work like they normally do. I love what they're doing out there. I love the game plan and how the defense plays. The offense is playing even better off of what the defense does. The defense, like you said, Nolan, they're coming along. They're not quite where they were last year or where they should be, but this is 4 weeks in, and this is pretty much preseason games. Week 5, I think we're really going to be able to tell to separate the boys from the men and know who's really doing the business out there. So that's number 4. At number 3, I debated with this for so long. And I had to think. And you know what? The game last night kind of made me improve my decision. So at number 3, I'm going to go with Seattle. I love what Seattle did against Miami. I know it was a tough game, but there was a play. I think it was a touchdown. I think to David Moore. That play on that call, there was no headset. Russ wasn't talking to the sidelines. Russ went out there and he made the recipe. He cooked it up, and he went and got a touchdown on that play. So I big him up for that, and I love what that team's doing. But, yeah, without Jamal Adams, I think that's a big issue. Like, they couldn't hide anything there, and Miami really exposed them at times, and it was bad, really bad. But moving forward, I think that these guys will settle in a bit more. Russ is going to have to continue cooking and leading them to win, but he's been doing so great, I don't want him to stop. Number 2, that bad man, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. They came out like gangbusters yesterday. No Devontae Adams, and you have who? Robert Tonyan, who, 90% of people probably don't know who this guy is, comes in, 3 touchdowns, big tight end, just doing what he had to do. And him and Aaron Rodgers had a connection. I think it was Aaron Rodgers was 20 for 20 on passes to tight ends and running backs in that game. So he was hitting them. The safeties on Atlanta were decimated, so they got worked over. But hey, when you're playing against a man like Aaron Rodgers, he's going to expose you if you have holes to expose. Finally, at number 1, come on.
All right.
Do I even need to say Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill? Come on, man. Travis Kelce, McCall Hardman. Oh, I won't even mention Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I just think that the Kansas City Chiefs, too well-rounded, man. Too well-rounded. And even on defense, when you have a guy like Tyrann Mathieu able to get a pick six, like have big plays like that, and Frank Clark was killing it off the line.
I could have got that pick six.
Hey, Luka, they look dangerous from top to bottom. It doesn't matter. I'm scared of them. I think that they're going to be back-to-back champs, and it's not even a problem for them. But we'll see. But yeah, that's my top 5.
Yeah, I think you got it there. I think we all got it there with Kansas City being number 1, guys. They're just such a solid team. It's hard to not place them in the number 1 spot. So let's talk about the rookies so far this season. So I thoroughly watched the Denver versus the Jets game on Thursday night. And I want to give this kid some recognition. Number 10, Jerry Jeudy on the Denver Broncos. He actually played a really good game. He got his first touchdown of the season. He's super quick. He's agile. And I just think with the right coach and the right team, like this kid could really be on fire. So it'll be interesting to see when Drew Lock comes back, if he's going to use this kid, right? So I'm really excited for him.
Yeah, I like Jeudy too, and I think he can do everything. He mossed that, New York Jets DB. But you're right, Chantel. Without Drew Lock right now, Brett ripping the ball around, and he wasn't really ripping it. It looked pretty bad out there. But yeah, Pat Shermer's got to script up some more plays for Jeudy. I'm going to go in the same direction with a receiver as well. I think you know the way where I'm going to go.
We got it.
Justin Jefferson, guys.
Justin Jefferson.
Hey, sometimes I don't agree with Pro Football Focus. I do, their numbers and analytics are a little wild sometimes. But how about Justin Jefferson being the highest rated wide receiver in football right now by Pro Football Focus? That's including all receivers, not just rookies. Justin Jefferson, JJ, man, 8th in yards. His yard per catch is 3rd in the NFL, 17th in yards after the catch. And again, guys, he only has 14 receptions, right? There's like guys like DeAndre Hopkins who have like 39 catches already. 88% of his catches have gone for a first down. He's really helping this offense a ton. It's not just Adam Thielen and Olabisi Johnson and Chad Beatty trying to do things out there. It's not yet where it was with Thielen and Diggs, but it's getting there. Justin Jefferson has been an absolute stud so far. I can't wait to maybe hop on NFLshop.com and start getting that number 18 jersey ready to go because he looks awesome, man.
He's doing everything the Vikings need him to do, right? Replace a guy like Diggs, and he's doing a great job. So it's kind of hard to argue. I'm not going to argue a Vikings fan on that one, so I'll give it to you. But for me, guys, you know how I am about this league, quarterback-driven league. Justin Herbert, he has been playing phenomenal. And I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't high on this kid coming out of Oregon. I really wasn't. I thought Tua was much better. I thought we haven't seen him yet, so that still remains to be seen. But, man, to get thrown into a game against Patrick Mahomes and almost take him down, and then have to go up against Tom Brady and go into a shootout with him. Eckler, he gets hurt in the first quarter. You're without your starting running back who's he reminds me – he's not Kamara. I'm not going to say he's Kamara, but the way he breaks tackles and can catch passes out of the backfield, he's kind of similar in that way. To get a guy who, he leaves in the first quarter and then to still duel Tom Brady like that going into the fourth, there's potential for this team. If this team wasn't just so unlucky with all the injuries that they have, they are a top team in this league without a doubt. You saw the team that didn't get hurt a couple seasons ago beat Kansas City in Kansas City, in that division. They tied the exact same record with them a couple seasons ago. Obviously, New England destroyed them in Foxborough, but they had a really good year. So if they can get, they got to fire someone on the medical side, because it seems like every single year someone's going down. 3 offensive linemen are down. Derwin James doesn't seem to get on the field. The DBs are going down. Melvin Ingram's going – like everyone is dropping for this team. And there's been injuries throughout the NFL, so you can't say that it's just this team. But this team is consistently missing guys year in and year out. Herbert, I really like what I've seen so far. Big arm. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, they're benefiting the most. And, of course, Hunter Henry. That offense looks scary with this kid under center. I think he's played fantastic so far.
Yeah, for sure. That Chargers, their medical staff there, they got some issues over there with the medical staff. I read up on their medical staff. There's some past history of badness, and I don't really want to get into it right now. But if people want to take a look, they can go look up that Chargers medical staff history and see the craziness. But yeah, Luke, I agree with you. I had Justin Herbert as my player too. I think he's doing great out there. For him to come out, I know he hasn't gotten a win under his belt yet, but the performances he's had out there on the field, he's really shined. I didn't, like you, I never expected anything of him coming out of Oregon. I didn't think he was that great. I knew he had a big arm, but I didn't think his accuracy was there. I didn't think he could manage a game at the NFL level. But he's come out like gangbusters and really shown that he can actually get this game working for him and working for his team. So I'm not really going to I won't stick with Herbert still, but I'll just throw in the name. I really like what I've seen Clyde Edwards-Helaire do. I know he hasn't really gotten that many touches in the red zone, and because he's not really that strong of a back. But to move them between the chains and up the field, I love what he's doing for the Kansas City Chiefs. They bring him in, get him 5 yards on a quick drive, 10 yards, 5 yards again, just moving the chains, and that's what you need from that running back there at Kansas City. You don't really need him to go out there and get you 100-yard games every single game. You just want him to be consistent and keep it moving. So somewhere between 50 to 75 yards a game is always good. Maybe 12 to 15 touches, always nice. 1 or 2 passes go his way. Because our offense is so great, he's hidden so much. And I think for the rest of the season and to come, we're going to see an explosion from this kid. And I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is really going to blow up.
Quickly, if I could, guys, Justin Herbert. Yeah. I absolutely loved him out of Oregon. I love the Oregon Ducks football team. The only thing that I question is if he can he throw with touch? Because right now he looks like a better Josh Allen than what Allen was in a rookie year. You saw that 7-step drop, 60-yard throw for a touchdown. He threw an absolute dart on the 72-yarder. He looks unreal right now. It's just, can he make those tight window throws and put a little bit more air on it for Allen and Mike Williams to get under it. But so far, all good rookie names.
Yeah, I know, and I see what you're saying there with Justin Herbert too. And I just think that just with a little bit more experience, I think he is going to end up blowing us out of the water. He's just, got to buckle down, keep doing what he's doing, and I think he will be able to do it. So we've got a pretty decent matchup Thursday night. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Chicago Bears. So both 3-1 teams. My thoughts on this game is that Tampa Bay is going to take home the win, and I think that it's going to be 31-27 for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think I think I have to lean with Tampa Bay. I put him at number 5. Chicago is just so up and down. Nick Foles and that offense looked terrible against the Colts defense. I had Tampa Bay 27-18. Man, I used to think the Chargers defense was really good. Brady made them look really, really bad. So I expect a little bit more of that Thursday night. Bucks move to 4-1.
I got the Bucks too. It's not just because I'm a Brady fan, it's because they're a good team, guys. I got Brady going up against, the Bears, short week. No one's better, I think, in the league than preparing on such short notice. So I got Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 31-19.
I like that. As you can see, I've set it up properly. I got the Buccaneers jersey behind me, and I got the Patriots Tom Brady jersey behind me. So you already know what my pick is going to be like. I love how the Bucs look. I love what they're doing. I got the Bucs 27-17. Let's get it popping.
All right. Okay, guys. So, it was great chatting with you guys. That concludes our episode for today. Thank you so much for joining us on Touchdown with True Sports, brought to you by Pickups, your everything on demand delivery app. We'll see you next week.